Our guest today is Ireland under-21 international Killian Phillips. After a breakthrough season at Drogheda United in 2021, Killian signed for Premier League side Crystal Palace after a successful trial period. Before making his competitive debut, Killian started 2 games in pre-season versus Manchester United and Liverpool FC in front of a crowd of over 80,000 people.
What a night this is for Crystal Palace. Killian Phillips gets his brace.
Fresh off a successful loan period with Shrewsbury Town where he won Young Player of the Year, Killian is with us today to discuss all things football and life. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome, Killian. First podcast, yeah? Is this your first one ever? Have you ever featured on a podcast before?
Done one last week,
Right.
but it cost a £5 to listen to, so I think this is the first one I think everyone will listen to.
For free? Cost
No
a
one's paying
fiver?
a fiver.
I have, I have never.
No, we haven't listened to it either. I'm not worth the £5, lads. I'm not worth the £5.
Do you find that, obviously playing Premier League club, do you find, I'm still like, do you want to keep the pennies in check, or you find, you know what, whatever?
Nah, I think my man wouldn't let me in fairness with them. We just were what we were before they went to Palace, like, to get me, so
Nice.
most of my money just goes to my man. We give all my money to my man mostly, so
What a pro.
we
Good
don't
pro. What a pro. I'm not stunned, to be honest with you, but what a pro. We said, good way to get started for you, right? We've got some absolute fantastic quick-fire questions for you.
Alright.
One, I know you
Quick-fire,
say you
yeah.
listen to the
Love
podcast a decent
the
bit,
first one.
but this one's important, right? This is a genuinely important question. Right, you got to rank these in order, and if you want to have a think about it, you can do so. Chocolate, sweets and crisps.
depends on your mood though, doesn't it, boys, as well?
I think there's just one right answer.
Well, I think there's a right answer as well, so,
You're different than me actually on this, aren't you?
well, you're wrong.
I think for me at the moment we go crisp, sweets, chocolate.
I'm stunned.
What were you? You're chocolate first, aren't
Chocolate first.
Crisps,
100%
crisps.
That's
all
all
day.
chocolate, boys. I don't know what's
Yeah.
up with it.
Crisps,
chocolate.
chocolate.
Any sort of chocolate. What crisps then? Rank. What's your top crisp?
Oh, right, because you can't get them over in England, so I'd more like pack of King Crisp, King Crisp Sambo, lads.
King are good, yeah.
Right. Crisp Sambo.
Okay.
Little, that'll just go top for me, and then I don't mind the little Buffalo Hunky Dories from time to time,
It's a
and
good
then
show.
sometimes if feeling a bit posh, I'll get a bag of Skips. Take a handy, lads.
Skips as well.
Yeah,
Underrated.
they're good.
Underrated. They come in those, like, you can get those little mini packs, but they have like a box of like, or a pack of like 12 of them or 20 of them, and they come in the little mini ones. You're having like 17 of them in a go. Beautiful. Right. Next one, a little more serious. Best player you've ever played against?
I have a few now after last summer. We'd go Mo Salah probably. Between him and Marcus Rashford.
Not bad. Rashid.
Just
Were they
now.
good on the day?
Yeah, I was going to say.
On the
yeah.
day, the best player, we always say this to the lads now, I was on the bench against Brentford in the Premier League, and the best player I've ever seen live was Ivan Toney.
Really?
Unbelievable, lads. But on the day that we played against, it was probably Trent. He came on at half time. I think he only played about 20 minutes. Took the piss. We don't think he passed the ball once, he just backheeled everything and went everywhere. Everything he tried, he came off, and I was just thinking, me.
When you see
Levels.
how good these lads are in person, like technically, it's just, I'd say it's,
You get blown away.
yeah, it's scary.
Like, and in fairness here, Bruno Fernandes was unbelievable. All the lads, like, a lot of mates that are Liverpool fans are telling me to kick Bruno. Couldn't get
near
close to him. Couldn't get close to him. Like, I think I touched him in the first minute from tip off, and then the rest couldn't even smell him. Lads, he was miles away from me. He was.
That's
Bruno's tops as well. I actually think you're on the fence about Bruno. I think he's
Yeah,
underrated. I think he's underrated.
I think he's gone.
think
He's
he's
dropped
heavily
down into
underrated.
that
This year
category.
he's done really well. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
I think
fairness.
he's heavily underrated. Heavily underrated.
It's funny with a player like him though, because like that you wouldn't think he's a quicker at, but it's just like so
it's
hard
just-
to get
it's
around
up
them
there,
players.
He's
Like,
clever,
it's up-
yeah.
it's up
yeah, it's
there.
all there.
He's clever. He's
tops.
clever, and he's so brave. Just
Yeah.
always gets on it.
Like, he give away probably 5 times or so, and then he just pick one out, and that's an assist, and then
Yeah.
you know, 1-0 up.
He's like that. He's like the old. He has the old school like license of an
Yeah.
attacking player. Go on, just give the
Yeah,
ball away.
yeah,
Give the
yeah.
ball away. Get on it. Make something happen there. No, he's quality. Do you want to go with the next one?
Who is or was your favourite player to play with? So currently or previous club or
I'll give one about from last season. My favourite player to play with would have been Elliot Bennett.
Okay.
He played for Norwich in the Prem and that, and he's 35, I think he is. But it's ridiculous. And then at Toronto, I'd probably say Gary Deegan. Because we created a great partnership with him, and still speak to Deegan to this day. And legend, lads, he's probably stuck me on the straight and narrow a lot.
Yeah,
He'd always come over and stick his arm around me and all. So say probably Deegan.
He seems like a top pro.
I was going to say, I would be stunned if you didn't say him.
Legend, lads.
Yeah.
So not even top pro, just top person.
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
Just a normal bloke. He's about 10 minutes from me. Lives about 10 minutes from me. He's just legend, lads. Straight. Like, I can't even speak highly of Deegan.
Good player as well.
Very good player. So underrated, I think. Very underrated.
What age is Deegan?
36. 37.
He'd go career in England as well, didn't he?
Very good, very decent, Scotland as well, he was up there. Up in Hibs.
Class. Right. I don't think you went away this year, did you?
No.
Do you have a favourite holiday destination?
I've never been on holiday, boys.
Really?
Never.
Never
went to Spain or that and grown up. No, I've never been in Spain. Never been in Portugal or that.
No.
So I'd probably say Singapore.
But on the
Oh,
pre-season
right,
tour.
nice.
It's not a
Nice.
bad one, by the way.
Did you get to see much of it?
Yeah, we went to before the game. We went to some indoor. Can't even remember what it was, like with flowers and trees and that.
Isn't that
The garden.
The garden, it was the first or the biggest indoor garden or something in the world.
Class.
And then our hotel was a joke as well. My God. We went from sleeping on the couch in Kilbarrack and then about a month earlier, and then I'm standing in a 5-star hotel rooftop pool looking out onto the skyline of Singapore.
What's that like? Do you find that you're quite like present in them moments, or you're like, what is going on here?
No, I think when I'm by myself, I'm thinking like, what am I doing? How we ended up in Singapore in a 5-star hotel? They hit me, I'm like, what? But no, I think I'm very grateful for them moments as well. Look, I always just, I pray a lot now with these days as well. So I always thank God, and more importantly, look, when I'm in places like that, I'd always FaceTime my ma. Just kind of bring my ma with me, because she deserves to be on the journey. Because look, if you've listened to any of me interviews before, I always preach about how good my ma was. So I think bit stunned sometimes, and then a lot grateful every single time. So
it's a good answer. Good answer.
The last question.
This one's probably the most important question of all time. Right, you gotta pick one. Drogs to win the Premier Division, or Kilbarrack to win the FAI Intermediate.
That the one you go to the Aviva?
Yeah.
Let's wrap that up here. We went to the Aviva with Kilbarrack in 2013. We got to the final and we lost on penalties. We missed the penalty in extra time, and then we lost on penalties. So I say for the day out, I go Kilbarrack to win the intermediate, I think.
Because you have a flat day out.
Yeah.
Drogs is a full season.
Yeah, Drogs full season, and I'd be over playing. It'd be November the season finishes, innit? So we'll be over in England and then you're playing. So, and I think the intermediate in the summer finish.
Yeah, it's around May. So
you
might get back for it.
I might get back for it. Well, no matter what, I don't care what will be in the video, and I'll be with the lads and all. So I'll say Kilbarrack to win the intermediate. Yeah,
Nice.
just me there, lads.
Manifest that. That's gonna happen now. Right. So your life's been a bit mad, hasn't it? Is that how you describe it? The last while?
Yeah, mentally.
Ludicrous.
Crazy.
Lots going on. I want to start with a good quote, right? This is from The Independent, right? It's a good way to describe kind of what's gone on in your life over the last while. So, a little over a year ago, Phillips' priority was to survive the grueling training sessions with his local Leinster Senior League side, Kilbarrack United, who he also started off with in his schoolboy days when he promised his mum he would be able to buy her a house. Are you en route for that?
En route, yeah. En route. Because I did me a lot of saving, so hopefully now in the next 10 years or so, get me mad again. She always wanted, so
Nice.
That's all I ever wanted to do. Like, see in school and all, when teachers do ask you what do you want to do when you're older, I'd always just say, buy me man gaff. So when I do that, that'll life complete.
Be some achievement.
Oh, I mean,
Some achievement. So, considering, right, you obviously had your breakout year at Drogs. Yeah, huge year. You ended up making what I see here is 30 appearances. Yeah, that year. It's very good. Very, very good for a young man at that stage. But then the turnover, like for considering after the end of last year, obviously you were on loan at Shrewsbury and had a very successful tenure there. Obviously we'll talk about that a little later on, but having only played a total after last year 49 senior games. Now that's a lot. It is a lot, but to be signed with a Premier League club as soon as you did, like how does that come about, first of all, and then second of all, how does it feel?
Well, I'll touch on the Jota thing. We travelled for a lot of young players. I did talk to a lot of players, young players coming up in the league, and they all say like, "Oh, I'm not starting, I'm not on the bench, I'm not in the squad, but I'm travelling." We travelled up and down the first division, but with Jota the year before, wasn't even making the bench most weeks.
And there's some long treks in the first division.
Long treks and behind closed doors all them games. So no even fans, no buzz. I'm sitting in the stands, not even on the bench by yourself. You can't even talk to anyone because you have to socially distance. So we done that the year before, and then I just stuck at it. And then I didn't play the first. Didn't play the first 5 games. Sorry, didn't play the first 5 games. I was on the bench and then just got lucky and broke through. So I think that for any young players that are in League of Ireland, it can just happen like that, and then it's up to yourself going to take a chance like that. But when I remember, it was one of the lads had a party in town in the flats, and I remember Gary Rogers is my agent. I don't even like calling me agent. He's a friend. He's one of my best mates. I swear to God, he's a legend he is. And I remember just getting a call, and he was like, "Yeah, you're going over to Training121 Palace." You're going over to Training121 Palace, and we played the game. The next day I scored 1 goal, got 3 assists or something in the game. Couldn't have went any better. And then we got back to the hotel, me and Gaz, and he was like, "The Palace want to sign you. They'll probably have a fee agreed tomorrow." And I just remember he left me hotel room. We rang me ma, and we just sat on the phone crying for about 10 minutes. Swear to God, I was just sitting on my bed, just me and my ma just bawling each other our eyes out, and like it's just surreal. And then like I couldn't even tell any. That was about December time. Couldn't tell any of my mates or anything that it's more or less done. So I'm seeing my mates every day, and I'm just like, I'm gone in about 2 weeks, lads. Like, and so it's just mental. And then next thing you know, I'm just on a flight and I'm living in London.
Such a quick turnaround, isn't it?
So quick, but
such a quick turnaround.
Probably rather that way as well, though. I think.
Yeah, not to overthink it.
Yeah, in
just
and
go.
out. Yeah, no going away parties. No, just boom.
Yeah. Probably a better. Yeah, I think you're actually dead right there. It's probably a good way of doing it. Getting straight into the thick of it. You don't really have time to not process it because you are quite self-aware from what I've seen. But to go straight over and just be straight into the mix. It's almost a better way of doing it rather than have to think what could go wrong, what could go right, and so on and so forth. Did you go straight into training then over there?
Yeah, straight into training. Yeah, but because obviously I was on finished my season in October, so the sports scientists and all over there, Jolie and all legends, all them. So I was on a plan. So I was basically doing pre-season from January to March, building up. So the first couple of months was tough enough for me because I wasn't playing. I wasn't allowed to play. Like I was playing 45s here and 45s there, but they done it perfectly because I see a lot of players now from Ireland coming over to clubs in January and they're getting injured. They're getting injured straight away because they get thrown straight in. But I think Palace had a spot on with me and done it the right way. Even though it was frustrating, you can imagine how frustrating it is for me. I just want to play ball. Yeah. But they got a spot on for me. So yeah, I think I done it almost the right way. Yeah, kinda. Yeah,
absolutely. So let's go back to that the drugs debut you made, senior debut. Did you feel ready for that moment, or did it kind of just come out of nowhere? You didn't have, like we said, almost time to process that.
No, I think I speak to Wayne Groves. He was my night games manager. He was the fella that brought me to Drogheda, and he was always just on to me, just saying, just be the best in training every day, and you'll eventually get a chance. And then you'll be ready for it. So we listen to Groves. We talk to Groves every day, legend again, and I was just trying to be the best in training every day, and I was doing well in training, and then I remember it was that was a Tuesday, I think it was, and Tim put me on the Monday before training and just said, "You're starting." And it didn't really process till I got in the car and they told me, man, and then I was like, you know what, I actually feel ready for this. I've been working hard, I've done well in pre-season again, and I thought, but it was still just a bit mad. See, when you were standing there, we had a minute of silence, and Like I was staring across and I was like, oh shit, yeah. Oh, shit. That was the only time I've ever felt nervous on the pitch, when just that 1 minute, and then the second I finished I was just like, yeah, no, I'm ready for this. I'm ready, and thank God that I had a decent enough debut and I actually managed to stay in the team.
Nice. Was it at home?
Home, yeah, in Drogs, and in fairness we had about 30 people standing on the wall, because it was behind closed doors again with flares and that, so it was decent for me, yeah.
Nice.
I had a chance to score as well.
I'm kind of interested in your trajectory as a kid growing up. It seems quite unconventional. So could you take us through kind of when you started playing, where you started playing, and how you got from there to getting to Drogheda?
Look, I only started because I was born in America, and
can we actually start with that? Actually,
Yeah, sorry, no, okay, yeah, no, you're dead right.
That's one of the first things on
right.
this.
So we were going doing G-Man doing a bit of research for us, right? And we go on the wiki. First of all, that's your go-to, isn't it? When you look up a player's name, and in comes 30th of March 2002, San Diego, California.
Sun come down, boys. Now living in Kilbarrack. Sun come down.
What happened there?
So me two aunties first moved over for college, and then my ma said she's gonna go over for a month. Then just stayed there. She just enjoyed the party, and I think my ma did. And then
were you there long?
I was there. I think moved back when I was 5.
Okay.
5. So me and me 3 brothers. I have 3 brothers. We all just moved back when we were 5. Moved into me nannies. There was would have been about 9 of us in me nannies. My nanny has a 3-bedroom gaff. Madness, we said that was madness. And then we got a gaff around the corner for me nanny, and then it was just. But I don't remember that about America or that. It was not one thing I remember. So I would just say, tell everyone I'm Irish. Surprised you
didn't get the accent anyway.
Yeah, so I was going to say, you didn't get
lost
any
it quick, lads. So I was born there, and then me, obviously Kilbarrack only up the road, Kilbarrack United, so went up there. I only started playing ball when I was about 8 or 9. Like I was down in Neighbour Road playing golf for a bit, and then I always just wanted to play ball. Like I always just remember playing in me, the 2 pillars in your garden. We just play across the road, the 2 pillars as goals, and I remember I was just playing out on the road. So then I said, "Tommy, man, like I wanted to play football." Went up to Kilbarrack. I was up Kilbarrack, I think, till I was about 13, 14. I was playing with the NDSL Academy as well at the time, so I got to do a lot of good things with them. And then went to Cardiff for a few years because they were still in the NDSL, and knew all the lads. Like I was only playing football just to play with my mates, because I loved it. And then the NDSL manager at the time, down in Birmingham, he went to Kevin's, signed for Kevin's. Just doing alright, yeah. Just I was about 16. I think it was 17. Like it's mad to think I was 17. I was then playing in the highest level in Ireland.
Yeah.
And then me mate Frano, he was at Drogs, and Groves, he was at Drogs, and they was just saying, "Come up, why don't you come up?" So I just said, look, I had no real interest in coming up because I went on trial with Shells and Bows in the January before it, and both of them just said no. So I kind of just. I was going to go back to Kilbarrack. I signed for Kilbarrack, and I was going to go back and just play Leinster Senior. And then I was like, in fairness, Wes Dunn, he was the manager of Kilbarrack at the time, and he said, just give it a bash, and then you can come back. You're always welcome down at Kilbarrack. You'll always play for Kilbarrack whenever you want. So I just said, yeah, I'll give it a bash, and then it worked out alright, didn't it?
It is so interesting because people would think nowadays that you need to go into an academy at 8 years old and bang, start from there, and you're
I don't know
professional.
How people do that over in England when they're in an academy from 8 years old all the way up to this. Because the academies, I think it's a bit tough. Academy, it's probably because I've played senior football and then went back into an academy. But I think that it's hard to probably enjoy your football a little bit because I think there's just so much pressure on you to go and become a professional footballer. And I think you can probably get drawn into like your whole life being a professional footballer, and you're not actually a person kind of, you're just a footballer, as people say.
You become a robot almost.
We speak about that a lot, about like identity crisis, where people from 8 years old be in academy systems. Obviously we don't see it as much here, but definitely in the UK, and especially when players could go over younger prior to Brexit, they could go over in around 14, 15, and then come back, that's their whole identity, and then they come back and they feel like, well, I'm a failure. That's what I mean. I'm not a footballer by definition, so I'm nothing, which is obviously nonsense. But it's hard to see that when the only thing you see in academy football, or so it seems from the outside. It's like blinkers. You're around football people, you're around football coaches, you're around staff, physios, everything's football based. You go home and you're either in digs or whatever, just because you're a footballer, and then that's your whole identity, which is tough to get out of. It's tough to get out of that mentality.
It's nearly even worse when you see the likes of. It gets worse publicity when you see things like where Rashford does something good outside of football, and then he has a couple of bad games, and it's like, he shouldn't be doing that. Like, but if he's doing well, then it's like it's mad, like how footballers, even from the general public, are saying he's not focusing on football just because he's doing anything else. Like,
I think it's important to have things outside of football that they all like. I'm done with that golf now. We can't golf, but I'm actually going to try and get into it just to have something to do. But like, I think that's if I were to ever have kids and like they're going into football, I would just probably want them to have the same kind of route that I've had, where it's just you enjoy football. Like, I've been loving football from age like to now, like exact same. Like, even though there's a lot of pressure on me nowadays, like a lot of fans going to watch it, and there's a lot of stuff on the line, like people's mortgages and that, and we just still, I think, because I've never had like pressure like that before. I just play it as I play on the road with the lads, just because that's what got me there now. So I think it's just I don't think it'll change for anyone with that thing. So I think that it's important to just enjoy football. I think that's the main thing.
That massively, I think, resonates with fans. Like, I remember you sent one of Killer's goals for Shrewsbury, and even your celebration, you're just so in the moment. You're enjoying it. I think fans just love that. They're kind of sick of the robot player, so to speak. Whereas you're so much easier to resonate with as a player if you're like you're enjoying it, and you're passionate.
You look present is probably the best description. You look present when you play. Your heart's on the line. You can almost see it in your eyes. They're almost bulging because you're just so excited to be there. It's great.
Ask Shady, you probably wouldn't know him. He was on loan from Bournemouth, and he'd always used to walk out in front of me. Every time he'd walk out, I'd just scream. Every time walking out, like, we'd be holding little kids, and I just love it, boys. Like, you're playing in front of, we're playing in front of tens of thousands of fans every week, and I just, like, how can I not enjoy it? How, if you can't, like, there's no buzz like that, boys. I literally, I swear to, I walk out and just scream like a child, like a fan. I swear to, boys, man. I'd be in the middle of the pitch singing all the chants and all. I'd be marking someone and singing chants. People looking at me, like, oh gosh, yeah. But I'm just living my dream, and I'm just very grateful for it. So I'm just gonna just live in the moment, as you say, literally.
I think it's, like I said, it's very interesting how you seem so present. Do you, like I mentioned earlier, you come across very self-aware. Do you think, obviously when you're playing younger, Kilbarrack, Cardofan and Kevin, is that correct? That's the pathway. Were you good? Or did you feel you were good? Did you have a bit about you? Or was it something that you're like, right, I love it so much, and you eventually developed? Obviously you've got a lot about you now, but you're nowhere near even the finished article. But at that time, did you sense, geez, I've got a little bit about me, or was you just, I'm playing it and loving it?
No, I think I was just playing it and loving it. Like, I knew I was always decent. Like, I was always like one of the best, probably on the team, and best in the leagues that I was playing in. I wasn't playing in great leagues, but I was probably one of the best. Like, but I think, like, especially lockdown. I think lockdown was a big thing for me, because I was out on the pitch every day, lads, every single day, just because you have nothing else to do, just playing football. I was playing football for about 6 hours a day, most days, literally every single day, more or less. And I think that's when I was like if I just keep doing this, then I might actually have a crack at it when I go back to Drogheda, because people are kind of probably taking lockdown as a little time for a rest. But I was thinking, like, if I just keep doing this, then I might have a chance, because I've done well at Drogheda prior to COVID, and then I thought, you know what, if I just give it me all during COVID and then just see what happens, I think, and thankfully it's worked out so far.
Nice. So sorry, Kevin's then, it was into Drogheda. That was the pathway.
I was trying for Kilbarrack, and then because I was gonna go back to Kilbarrack and then Drogheda.
Nice.
So
Legally?
Yeah, legally this time. A couple of games I played for Kilbarrack under different names.
Back in the day.
It's funny how players do that.
You
just love kicking sphere. You just play anytime.
We made me senior there for Kilbarrack at 14, I think. We played. This is a good start.
Wow.
This is a good start. Played under Billy Hoyland. out in Portlaoise. We better not get the AOL. They're not even in the AOL league anymore. Played out in Portlaoise. 4-0 down at half time. Came on at half time. We pulled it back to 4-4. And then we scored in the 90 minutes to make it 5-4 at third down. Mr. Jackson, I call him Mr. Jackson because he's my teacher. He was playing with me. Wizzo was playing with me. Wizzo was about, he's in his 50s and he's playing with me. I was playing with everyone. Everyone's dad I was playing with. Third down. Madness was.
How's that coming about?
I think I was just walking up to the shop and they were on the bus and they had 10 players and they were like,
Do you want a game?
Do you want a game? And I was like, yeah, if we'll play, yeah. They were like, yeah, come on, then go down, get your boots. And then I just sprinted back up. Just on a bus to Portlaoise.
Bizarre. So you made your senior debut at 13.
Kubarek, yeah.
Crazy.
Madness bus.
That's crazy.
That needs to be on his wiki.
Yeah, that we're gonna clip that. That's got to go up somewhere.
And if Kubarek, if you get a phone from this, I'll pay it, let's.
Oh, stop.
So, I want to kind of jump forward then. I know we briefly touched on it when you're playing Singapore, right? What is going through your mind when you walk out? So you're saying you go and you're playing for Shrewsbury, you're screaming when you come out. What's that like? 80,000 plus people. Do you know the official attendance?
I think it was 100,000 lads. Both of the games was over 100,000.
That's silly. Like, that's so many people.
I know United was deaf for nearly 120,000. I think Singapore was just maybe under 100,000. Mental was. Well, I went from playing. I was seeing one of the lads sent me something. I think before that I was playing Sligo. On that day a year ago, I was playing Sligo. I think it was for the 3,000 people, and then playing in front of 100,000. Mental. But I remember in the tunnel, we were in the tunnel for ages for some reason, and I hate just standing around, so I'm just jumping up and down, trying to just take my mind off it. But there's a picture my ma has it printed out in the gaff, and I'll show you that after this. And I'm walking out and I'm just smiling. I'm just loving it. All the fans are saying you're never walking on. I'm just laughing. I pissed myself laughing. I'm just the same way it would be if I was going up to the road to play a game. I was just in the moment and loving it, boys, because I was just thinking, because I knew everyone back home was watching it, and I just knew, yeah, this is now a chance for me to actually to show a lot of people what I can do. So I was just laughing. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. It was probably like a lot of people when they seen it was starting. It was just mental to me. So
yeah.
Did you play well?
Yeah, I done very well. Yeah, in fairness, I actually done very well. I think I played 60 minutes, and yeah, it was probably so I done really well. Yeah,
Nice.
Fairness.
What's how did you find Patrick Vieira?
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend. Just one of the most down. I couldn't believe how down to earth he was, because I think the first time I trained with him was one of the first weeks when I was over there. And no shit. Oh my God.
Tougher in training than a game? Like, do you find in a game, right, this is where I come alive, but
Yeah.
when you're training, you're in and around all these professional players who are, whether you know or not, they're judging you. They see a young lad come in, young Irish lad, they're going, show us what you're all about, pretty much. Could you feel that pressure going into it? Yeah.
Well, not anymore really. I think it's a bit different now. But I think when I first went over, I think it was more myself. I was putting pressure on myself, because I'm thinking, if I have a bad pass here, or if I have a bad touch, these are gonna murder me here. But no, I think it's easier to show what you're about in games, especially for a player like me, where I'll always give 100%. I'll always run, I'll tackle, I'll chase after everything. So I think that I would find training a bit tougher, a lot tougher than games probably, especially across the road. When you go across the road with Palace, I think I don't know, I think it's games is a lot. It's hard to explain, but it's right what you said. I think games is just a lot easier to express yourself, I think.
Nice. How would you describe yourself as a player?
I would just say
Huge.
yeah, tall, gangly. I've got that a few times, tall, gangly. I think I'll just always, the bare minimum for me is always just 100%, no matter if I'm having a dirt game or a good game. And I like to just try and do the simple things well. Just think that's what football is. Football's just simple. If people just try and complicate it, and we just play to my strengths. We pick up a lot of second balls, and I play off players, and we'll just keep it simple.
Growing up, did you play any position in particular, or were you kind of?
No, I was always
a
centre mid. Yeah, centre mid, and then I played a couple of games for Drogheda. In the back three, I filled in a couple of games, about 4 games, and then
The right side.
right side.
I was talking to Dan O'Reilly about it.
Yeah,
He was like, he's never going to be a 10.
I can't remember. We played Watford or something.
Yeah.
Watford beat us 2-1, and then that was the end of me centre back. Stink all lads.
Because you find a lot of kids now is they kind of pigeonhole themselves. It's like I've seen like trial lists and all, and people put their position out. It's like I'm a 10 or I'm a 6.
We'll play anywhere. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Played for Shrewsbury. I was played left wing before, and left 10. I played the whole midfield at 10s, box to box. We'll just play anywhere. To be honest, yeah. I think what helped me a lot. Everyone says to me, like, I could play a lot of positions. I think just playing World Cup, Worldie when you're younger.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why we can probably play a lot of positions on the pitch. But so it's probably right wing. I don't have enough speed. I don't have all I have is the step over in me life. So everywhere between right and left wing, I'll do a job.
The modern winger come inside.
yeah.
Mark Albright.
Mark Albright, yeah, that's a good player.
What was I going to say? Back to Vieira, right? Obviously playing centrally, he's a fantastic player to model your game off. Has he given you anything, like little nuggets? Because we remember seeing that video of Luke McNally talking to Company. Or Company's going through some defensive position. Obviously, it's cool. The clip went viral, whatever. Has Vieira ever said like 1 or 2 things here like that really resonated, or is it always just kind of reminders as opposed to new nuggets the whole time?
No, we actually always spoke. Vieira actually, I think, really liked me, and I always spoke to Vieira because one of the best centre mids of all time. Like, so we always just thought. But if I'm wondering something, just ask him, because he'll know, and he's actually gave me a lot of things different to when I was growing up, what I've been told growing up. And it's mad, and then he do something with a different manager, and he's like, no, do it this way. I'm like, Patrick Vieira, the best centre mid, told me to do it this way. Like, see me. So,
is there any examples of that in particular, or?
Yeah, I gave an example the other day. I think that he was mad about, instead of opening up with your right and passing with your right, he was mad about touch with your right and pass with your left.
Back foot, front foot.
Yeah, all the time. We'd always do possession drills, and he'd always say like, Killian. That's what he used to say, Killian. And he'd always just say like, oh, do it. He'd just be mad about the front foot, back foot, or back foot, front foot all the time. And I think it's mental how much quicker the ball goes when you do that. It's actually, it's mental because we were always drilled in when we were younger.
Take
it and play with the same one.
So that was a good one.
You still have to take an extra step.
Yeah,
so you kill it, and then your left foot's already in. Let's say I'm taking my back foot left. You touch, the ball's already there, so your next one's here. But if you go right, you have to take another 2 steps to reset your feet. It's mad, It's
crazy
efficient. That's cool though. Even that's such a small little thing, but how many passes has he probably done in that regard? It's just repetition of it. That's cool. It's a really cool nugget. So, something so simple as that. It doesn't have to be complex. Like you said, the game of football can be super simple at times.
It is.
Super simple. So again, back to last year, right? Extremely successful. Would you class it as a successful lonely move?
Yeah, probably couldn't have went better, to be honest.
I probably agree with you. You had definitely 2 player of the months, is that right?
Yeah,
possibly
2 player of the months.
2 player of the months, and then you ended up winning Young Player of the Year for Shrewsbury, which is incredible considering you're only total of 5-6 months there.
No, 3.
3.
I missed
3.
One. Yeah, I missed one with a concussion.
Oh right, a full month. Wow.
Yeah, March with the concussion, and then so it was just January, February, April.
Wow.
Only 20 games I played there.
Yeah.
I thought I played more, to be honest.
Yeah, we have here is 19.
Yeah.
Oh,
19.
One FA Cup game against Sunderland as well.
And then the FA Cup game, nice, yeah. So 19. 3 goals. Not bad.
Yeah, it was decent.
Good turnover.
Decent.
Yeah, good turnover.
Some celebration.
Yeah, a little celebration.
Did you see it on the story earlier?
Yeah.
Did you see Finn's photo?
the Dublin 5.
Where'd that come from? obviously that's where you live. But
we had the media day in Drogheda, you know, when the info come in and take all their photos, and I was saying to the lads, I was up getting a roll, I think, before school, and I was saying, like, what will they do for my celebration? One of them was just messing, just saying, do that for Dublin 5. And I said, yeah, I'll do it for the laugh. Like, and then,
And now it's stuck.
now it's just stuck, yeah. And I think it's also a good thing to just never forget where you come from. And I think a lot of the kids now up the road in Kilbarrack are doing it as well. You know? So it's deadly, it is. And
That is cool.
I think it's a nice touch as well.
that is cool. Shrewsbury, obviously, you had a great time there. The lads and all, so on, I presume.
Legend.
Good guys. You seem to have a good relationship with them. Obviously, you could see the passion in your games when you're playing. I seen a clip. I think you were 2-1 down, possibly in the last 5 minutes, and I think you equalised, and then you got the assist for the winner, and you all went on a mad one. But 2 seconds, I was saying to the lads, I just found it so funny because you seem after you equalise, you're so hyped up. And the game kind of settles. You're like, right, we'll take a draw. That's kind of what it seems like. And then it gets a little bit ratty for a bit, and you just come in and clatter someone. It was in the 90th minute, and then you're looking at the ref. And it was a terrible tackle. It was a terrible tackle. And you got a yellow, and you're giving it the large one to the ref. 2 minutes later, you get in the half turn and slip someone in, and you win the game. So it seemed like you really enjoyed the whole thing. But did you see? I suppose what I'm trying to ask, the main difference is obviously you were in Palace playing 23s, in and around the first team, training with the first team. You've been on the pre-season tour where it probably doesn't get any better, and then it goes to Shrewsbury again, big club, but you're playing League One football. Stadiums aren't the same, pitches aren't the same, fans aren't the same. Nothing's really similar apart from that you're playing a game of football. What did you find were the main differences between the two?
Well, because I still think stadiums like that are deadly because we played in League of Ireland. So I'm kind of comparing them to League of Ireland stadiums, and I'm still thinking this is mental, this is still amazing. I think that I found it very hard in under 23 games, under 21 games to kind of get up for them a little bit because no fans, but going from fans then to a couple of parents at the game and whoever else would be at the game to then back to playing in front of thousands a week. I think you can't replicate that. I don't think you can replicate men's football at all unless you're just thrown in there. So that was still kind of a dream going through to me, even to play in League One. Playing in England, probably a lot of kids' dreams from Ireland. So I just loved it, lads. I swear to God, I think it's a lot. Even though probably the training ground wasn't as nice as Palace's academy training ground or nothing, but still better than training in United Park, getting changed in the dugout. So I still just thought, this is still mental to me, even though it's a lot of it's probably a downgrade from Crystal Palace's facilities, but still just every day you just get to put on that Shrewsbury shirt and go to work. So I loved it. Loved it.
I think your trajectory as a player is really important. When you talked about your debut with Drogheda and how you were kind of a bit nervous and whatnot, and then you said when you got to Shrewsbury you'd already had the senior first team men's debut and your X amount of appearances with Drogheda, so it's almost like that trajectory prepares you. Whereas, like we said before, if someone comes through the academy setup, they're there from 10 all the way to 18, 19, and then they get their loan. All of a sudden, they're like, Jesus, this pitch isn't great, and this isn't that, and I don't fancy it.
That's why I think that thing with Brexit is very good.
Yeah.
They can't leave till they're 18 because then a lot of players that would
They're playing
now,
more here.
they played in the league already. So, and then you can kind of you get that experience of men's football. Then you go into the academy and you can touch up on your little bits of detail and your little bits of technical work, and then you're kind of ready to go back out as a better player now. And you've experienced that men's football because it's nothing like jumping up for a header and getting an elbow. You can't replicate that. And that doesn't happen really in 21s or 23s, and or getting clattered or when you win a tackle and the whole stadium screaming. And I think that's probably we're now lucky Irish players that we can kind of do that we've
and away
played.
from the spotlight of the media, if you go over a Premier League debut or a Championship debut and you have a bit of a stinker, you could be gone like that. Whereas if you had a poor game in that Drogheda game, you might have got another chance 2 or 3 games down the line, and the same thing could happen there. No, it's actually really so interesting.
I love your route. I think it is. Yeah. It's very difficult to attain because you need to be a top player to get to that level. But I think your route is probably the most effective way to build a good person first, but then a very good footballer on top of that. Because like Dale was saying, you go in to a men's dressing room where you're around it, even for the COVID year, but you're around men the whole time. It's not the same. You will never be able to replicate it.
You don't even want to sit on your phone or
it's crazy. It's a whole different life.
Yeah.
Especially as a young kid. That's tough enough anyway, regardless outside of a football environment. But when you get into football, pressure occurs. You're playing in front of X amount of people. Like you said, people's mortgages are on the line.
Literally.
The club's on the line, so you got to perform. That's one. But getting those senior appearances in when you're still young and raw, and then, like you said, you get the opportunity to go over, not just to a decent club. You went over to a Premier League club, but you had your 30 appearances, senior appearances. A lot of players don't get that when they go over. So that is, for me, like you said, I think Brexit does help that. It gives lads a fantastic route now where they can go play men's football, go over across the water, and it's not like starting afresh. I've been here before. I know what I need to do. And if it is a higher Premier League club you end up going to, which you are lucky to do so, when you drop down the levels to a League One, you're like, this is bread and butter. I do this every single day, but it's better. It's better than the National League, of course. Higher, much more fans. Standard, you could argue it's at most clubs is going to be a lot better. Maybe some individuals here in the National League would have no problem going over, which we've seen in recent times. But it is such a nice trajectory. But again, you got to be good. You got to have a lot about you. And what you definitely have as a player, obviously you have the passion, the heart. I think everyone should have that, in my opinion. But anyway, a lot of people don't. But you've got size. And with size, if you can grow technical ability, that's fantastic. So you know it. Obviously, you're at a very good stage at the moment. When you went over to Palace, did you find... Right, I've probably played more senior games than these 23 lads or whatever. I probably have a little bit more about me, maybe a little bit more street smart in terms of playing, but we're like, technically, geez, I'm a little bit behind here. Or did you find you were on a good level?
I thought I was on a okay level, but still behind these lads. But couldn't believe it, like how far I was behind these lads. Even in passing drills, how they'd take it. I'm like, oh, that's good, that's very good. So then I think that's exactly how you said. Like, that's probably the best way to do it, where you kind of sharpen your stone a little bit, and by getting them technical things, because I've improved a lot technically now over the last few years, and me detail on pass, me details on touches, and would take a touch there and all. So I think that the way, like exactly the way you've said, I think that is the best way to go. But like, it was more, to be honest, it was more the gym and stuff like that I was miles behind. Like, I would have never done it. We were part-time at Drogheda.
Yeah.
So I would have been in the gym in the morning, because I finished school at the time and I was playing for Drogheda. So me man just let me just do my thing for Drogheda. So we'd go to the gym, just jump on a bench press and just bench press me life away every morning, and then just go in, and then like you're doing these different movements and that, teaching you why to do it, how to do it. And then to be honest, I was a bit embarrassed when I first went over. You're seeing people like lifting a lot heavier than you and doing them right, and I'm doing every exercise wrong and all. So I think then that's why I took the gym a bit more serious and a bit more. Now I'm just trying to get listening coach are probably sick of me, because I'm always taking them for the plan to do this and why I'm doing this. So I think that I think the gym was probably more than the actual football side, and off the pitch stuff, and that is kind of, I think, what they're ahead of Irish players by a lot.
Facilities obviously have
full-time,
that full-time
yeah,
environment. You have the time around these experts to go and sharpen tools. Again, a lot of people don't use that though. They will go over in your position and they're like, they won't fully utilize it. I remember James Brown was talking about when he went over to Blackburn. He was like, how is everyone here not absolutely world class? The access they have, everyone needs to be using as much little details. Crazy. He was like, he went straight into the gym. He was like, give me everything, you know, give me everything, you know, because I will take it. And especially players who come over here very raw from Ireland, they kind of like crave that extra little bit, because unfortunately we can't get it here at the moment. So it's interesting that you, as soon as you go over, you felt a little bit embarrassed. But that's, I presume that's quite normal.
Yeah, it probably is.
It's an uncomfortable feeling. You almost feel, not that it's correct, but like, do I deserve to be here and things like that? That's in your head a lot. But you touched obviously on the gym side of things. Did you go in with, okay, I need to improve, change direction, I need to improve my explosivity, maybe do plyometric exercises, or did they go and screen you and go, Killian, this is what you need to do?
Yeah, like they'd have everyone has their own individual plan. Like I was remember when I first went over, I think it was my hips were a lot tighter than a lot of people. And they were like, that's why you're not running as quick as you can run. So then they gave me a plan on how to loosen up my hips and how to strengthen me glutes and my hamstrings. And then I remember, because we get our speed testing every Thursday, and my yoke was flying up. I was beating me scored every single week just from the yoke. It was mental. Like, you don't even realise how much the science and stuff goes in between it. Like, I'm fascinated by it, so I always ask them and sit down like at lunch and talk to them about it. And yeah, I think it's just mental, the little details, stuff to do, just to give it that little inch. Even though it's only an inch, you just think, like, I'm running like 0.3, like 0.03 quicker than I was the week before, but that's the inches that can probably push it over the line or get you ahead of someone. So I think I think if it's there, take it. 100% take it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I'd agree. I think it's crazy, and again, I think it's more so people, maybe from the outside we see it, where kids are involved in academy football and they kind of have everything not handed to them, but everything's there.
Yeah, they're told where to go,
where to be, what you need to say, so on and so forth.
A little bit.
Yeah, and it's very easy to become robotic, and again, we said earlier, have that identity crisis where I'm a footballer and it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to be a footballer, and that can obviously go south very quickly. So it's just, it's very interesting to see kind of the opposite side of it, where you come in with maybe very little of that access to knowledge, and then when it arrives, it's like, give me all of that. Give me every single bit of that. When you're training with the first team, let's say you game on the Saturday, what would your week look like from the Sunday?
So Sunday,
Saturday.
Be off, more or less. Be off, unless you have a game midweek, then you'll be in for recovery, but be off Sunday. Then Monday, you do more or less another recovery session, like a light session on the ball, just to get you back flowing. Tuesday, you'd be in for a tough session. Then off Wednesday. In Thursday, another kind of bash, another tough session. And then Friday, right down, just taper down, small city games, rondos, just all probably a bit tactical, and then set pieces, and then in. Finish that Friday session at about 11 o'clock, and then all about Saturday. That's the thing that we actually really enjoyed about Shrewsbury. It was just all about Saturday. See what you're doing training doesn't matter, but doesn't really matter. It's just once you know what you can do to get you ready for Saturday, and that's what you do. That's what I love Shrewsbury.
Different approach.
Yeah,
did you find
a lot
game week entirely different approach?
A lot different, because I think at academy it's still about development, so like your training will matter a lot more, how you perform in training and that, and then on the weekend still you want to win, but it's still development, so you do a little bit. But then Shrewsbury, just once you're ready for Saturday, don't matter what happens.
Who was the gaffer there?
Steve Cottrell. He left there. He left there last week. Madman, lads.
Did he? You got on with him?
I loved him. I loved him. One of the nicest blokes ever, but on the pitch he mental and genius as well. In fairness to him, he's a very good gaffer and looked out for me. But what a legend, mate! Like, you can't thank. That's what everyone says to me, that I've worked with Steve Cottrell at 21. I won't find a better manager than Steve Cottrell now throughout my career, and I'm only 21. But a legend, one of the nicest people ever, lads. I swear to God.
Nice.
Yeah. So plans next year. What would be your goal?
Well, I'm going to try and go back, and my goal now is to go back and try and get into the first team, or get in and around it, and that's the whole point of a loan, lads, isn't it? Is to go back and become a Crystal Palace player, and thankfully I've played for them in the cup, and that was, the fans were there. We played Oxford, I think there was only about 3,000-4,000 fans, and the noise off the Palace. I don't know if you've ever seen the Palace fans. Mental.
Yeah, I remember watching the documentary. Remember when Holloway and all was there from years ago? Eagles there to fly or something like that. That's when they were trying to get promoted to the championship, and it seems like a good
legends,
club.
Boys. Yeah, ultras, like just sing the whole 90 minutes. So I'm a bit desperate to play in front of them, and I think that that's my goal now, is to see what. I don't know what's happening with the gaffer and that. So but when I go back, I'm going back to be a Crystal Palace player. So that's my goal, and if not, then I'll go back out on loan, and it'll be a full season loan as well this time, which I think is important, and get more games under my belt and just kind of keep showing people what I can do. And yeah, that's what I'll be looking at when I go back. Yeah,
I think that's
and
a
obviously
fair assumption.
we have a youth campaign coming up for Ireland as well.
Yeah.
Which
I was going to bring up 21s. Congratulations.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Appreciate
And
it.
I was actually stunned that you've only made one appearance.
One appearance,
France
yeah.
in Turner's Cross.
Yeah.
There the other
That's
day.
my international debut.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
At 21s.
21. Never got called up to anything else. Never even trial. I had a training camp when I was under 19s, but I was playing for Jordan at the time. And
I remember it.
yeah,
The photo in your hotel room.
yeah,
Standing like a pencil you were.
photo for the man. That's good. And yeah, no. So that's another thing. I'm desperate to play for Ireland. I swear to God, there's no feeling like it. Like I was on the bench against Sweden. I didn't even get on, but I just remember the pride when you're on the bus up to the games and you're playing all the Irish songs and all the Irish anthems and all. It's just no feeling like it, but I swear to God, it's like a lot of people, everyone always says it, but there's nothing like it. It's like, I know I've only played once, so I just cannot wait to play. We have now camp now next week, 10 days, 3 games, and then the qualifier start in Tala in November. Italy and San Marino are the 2 games, double header, so I cannot wait for that. We'll probably need about 300 tickets for them games. Bring
it all to the bar.
Cannot wait, Emmy.
We'll have to make an appearance there ourselves.
Yeah,
we have a lot of the boys on it now. There was like we played the 10v10 yesterday.
Yeah.
Six
lads,
21s
yeah.
internationals at that yesterday,
mental.
which is quality. Quality.
I'm gonna have to get you on the payroll. Let's
Listen, you're dead right. You're dead right. You're
Yeah,
dead
Monty
right.
on it.
There was one thing I actually really wanted to touch on because I think you'd have a really good opinion on it. So you spoke about like academy football and how you find no crowds, tough to get yourself up for it. People describe it, and how I've kind of said it as well. It's kind of it seems like fake football where everyone's techie. No one's really gonna go the extra mile to win. Everyone's just happy enough to just look pretty, get the ball moving. But you can very much tell a lot of the lads who are in that environment, 23s, probably a little bit more competitive, younger, because there is that grit of I'm fighting to get towards my pro contract. But once you kind of maybe some of the lads are on a 1 or 2 year deals, they're playing in the 23s, haven't gone out on loan. Do you find a major difference between playing in that 23s league compared to even at a Shrewsbury? Obviously, Shrewsbury's men's football. We know there is a difference, but what do you think are the key differences between obviously one and the other? Obviously, you said the fans and so on, but is there anything else?
I just it's not really that, like, no one really has that like kind of bite to win a little bit. In fairness, our Palace team were decent. We had Paddy McCarthy as our manager. He's as mad as me, lads. He's from Edinburgh. He's only around the corner from me. Like, he probably teams when they come and play Palace, and when I was playing for the 21s, they probably look at me and Paddy and think these two are mad, because me and him would just be screaming, we'd be bleeding, running everywhere, we'd be going mad just because we just kind of have that little thing to win. But I think I don't know. I think it just means a little bit more. Like, this men's football means just a little bit more to the men for some reason. Like, it's tough to kind of get that winning. Everything's just about winning. You don't care about anything else. You don't just 3 points. I think it's hard to probably get that in an academy where you don't really get anything for winning the league. You get a trophy and a medal and that. But when you go to men's football, it's, as I've said, it's mortgages, food on the table, it's promotion, it's the club also. The club can get money from it as well, so it's a lot. Every position, every point in the league matters. So I think that's just that's probably the thing where it's just everything's about winning. Which is, it's hard to put a finger on how to explain it, but that's literally what it is.
Do you cope well with losing? And do you have any mechanisms?
I hate it. I can't stand it. But I think after, like, I'll be kicking myself in the dressing room and that, and then when I get on the bus, you can't change it. Don't focus on things you can't change or can't affect yourself. So I think that second I get on the bus is just next game. That's the best way I think to be. You can't. No point dwelling on it. You're not gonna say the ref's not gonna go back on and say, "Here, lads, let's play another half an hour and hope Shrewsbury can win." So I just don't think there's no point of dwelling on it. Obviously, it hurts and it hurts a lot. probably the next morning when I wake up it hurts and stuff, but I think it's no point dwelling on it. I think it's literally just get up and get on with it. Yeah, but there's no feeling like winning, so that's what I'd rather.
It's like an addiction, isn't it?
Yeah. It's mental, boys.
Chasing that
buzz.
competitive buzz. It's crazy. Do you have anything else, House?
No, look, I found this.
We'll give you a question, lads. Yeah.
We're getting questioned.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I've always thought about this when I'm on because I used to get the bus to training and like over in London, and I'd always just think there's cages everywhere. Every 5 minutes you go, there's a cage, or there's a grass pitch with nets up, and then these cages all have them 24-hour lights on them. And then you look at the amount of football. Did you ever see that statistic about Premier League footballers? Like 65% of Premier League footballers is from South London. That's where something like that. And anyway, and that's where I live. I just think, what do you think about kids playing football now in Ireland, kind of? And I think there's enough. I don't think really we don't really have the facilities kind of to do that. I don't know if that's the FAO or the councils to do that.
Yeah,
but I think that's one of the big things, and then everyone's wondering why Ireland don't have these like Sanchos and Rashfords,
street footballers,
techie footballers. Like probably Wes Houlihan was one of the only
the
ones
last
that is,
one,
like, and then everyone's giving out about why the national team is dirt and this and that, and it's probably because when you're growing up, all these, like how far England are ahead of us, because they have all these cages and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering, boys, I think it's mental how there's no like where's the closest cage to me in Kilbarrack is probably Town.
You probably have to pay for it.
Yeah, probably. I think it's a youth club one.
That's the thing. Accessibility is.
Are them ones in South London? Are they just like a public park? Like they're just there, like
they are, like
no bookings, no nothing.
Yeah, no nothing. You can just
pick
go
up
in
games,
and play.
like
I don't know why. I don't understand why we don't have them all over here.
Yeah, there's really not a lot, is there?
When you think about it, when you actually sit back and think about it, just not a lot. Yeah.
And something as simple as when we would have played when we were younger, like you mentioned, playing in your garden with the pillars or whatever. Even something as simple as just more people have cars now.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you can't play
you're
football in the streets anymore. Like there's cars all over the shop. But it's always comes down to money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And funding and all this. I think the FAO actually have an infrastructure plan being released today or tomorrow. But that's probably more for grounds and all. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting them. Just flooded 24/7.
Like I couldn't believe it, lads. It was just every single corner you turn in South London, there's a cage or there's somewhere to play football or there's a grass pitch with nets up there the whole time. Like there's not many pitches with nets up.
Nets
now,
up, yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah, the whole clubs are very protective, which again some of it is understandable because they can get really done on like insurance. Yeah. So if a kid comes down, jumps on the crossbar, falls and breaks their arm, who's liable?
Yeah.
Like it's the kid's fault,
it's tough,
but it's the grounds. I understand that side of things, but accessibility is there is definitely a way of going about it because they're obviously doing it in the UK.
Yeah.
There is ways of going about it. Accessibility is probably the biggest issue. Getting somewhere to actually go.
Just more than pitches, like
the amount of times we'd be coming off an Astro, and we've obviously paid to be there. We're renting it, and we've coming off, and the kids are trying to get on, and like I've actually no problem with that, but it's like we can't let you on. We're actually if the club found out, we were like, go on, lads, and then we left the gate open for them. We're done. We're then liable, which is obviously an issue. So, but that's the problem. There is only that pitch within 20 kilometers of the area, so everyone tries to get onto it, which is again, it makes a lot of sense. There's nowhere else to go though. So it is tough
to get in to
and
a nice pitch,
and then that has its own problems. It's a nightmare. It's a shame. Really, it is a shame. How do we get about it? Honestly, funding is probably the key thing. It's like a scapegoat, but it is.
It's like just finding the areas that have the highest participation of the sport, and then like that putting in this. It's not like you need that many pitches, like
not really, no,
just in different areas, having one or two, like
then whoever is using them has just got to be respectful as well. Don't ruin the place. Like sometimes you do get that someone would open up a facility and gets destroyed like that. That's just silly as well. You're just ruining it for yourself. But it mainly is funding, I would say, and accessibility. I think it's once you lay the groundwork like that, the culture begins from there. The culture
like people will look after, like if it was our pitch and we were growing up and we were like the locals, so to speak, eventually people come in and if they're acting, taking the mickey, be lads, relax, like you know, people would like there'd be a hierarchy where
the inner culture would look after as it should.
It would look after itself, eventually, obviously,
It's a good question. That is probably the easiest answer, and it would make a huge
Probably,
difference. It is true, unfortunately.
That'll be your legacy now when you finish playing. Set up
Build-
the
build
Killian
it,
Phillips
yeah.
pitches.
Just Killian Phillips Foundation.
Yeah,
Huh?
loads of
Phillips
6-a-side
Foundation.
pitches.
PF.
You don't have that now, do you? I think like it's
No,
quite refreshing. Like
I would also agree. I think as a person, genuinely speaking, it's nice to say to you in person, but we speak about you quite a lot because we use you as a very good reference point, especially talking to our younger kids when they come in saying, you don't need to be in the academies. Parents come up to us, it's 15s now, they'll have to get into a national club. So relax.
You don't.
You don't.
Just enjoy it.
There is proof in the pudding that you can just have a long-term, real good sense of self, more importantly, but also a good career. First of all, you've got to have a bit about you, but there's no rush, there's no panic. You need to be a good person first, which you are, and you've seen how quickly that can change overnight. You were ready for that. Our slogan, our tagline is prepare for your moment. You were ready for your moment when the Drogs debut came along. That could have went a whole different way, but you were ready. You were prepared mentally, physically, and probably the most important point, you were willing to go and compete. So it's unreal. Obviously we work with you, but it's unreal to see how well you're currently doing. You've had a great year at Shrewsbury, and you're still only 21.
Yeah.
So you've
Only
got
the
so much time to develop your career. So congratulations on everything so far.
Appreciate
Best of
it.
luck in the camp.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. Represent Ireland obviously well. Best of luck to all the other lads. We'll have another international on now in 5 minutes. You'll probably see him come in. But yeah, congratulations. You're
appreciate
very good
it.
up until now, but
Yeah.
you've got so much more to go, and
Anyone
it's
who-
exciting to see.
anyone who hasn't heard of him might hear of him next year.
Yes.
He's getting big.
Yeah. The
Um,
big boy.
Yeah, but it sounds like your ma's lucky to have you.
Yeah.
No, I'm lucky to have me man. I'm lucky to have me man. I'm blessed to have me man.
Right.
No, but
Fantastic.
We done?
Thank you for watching, everyone. That was an absolute pleasure. Killian, thank you very much for your time.
pleasure, lads.
Really appreciate it.
you.
Top
Having
man.
me in, lads. Legends. Anytime.
Class.